Da 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 da. Da 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 da. Okay, everybody. Hello, and welcome to the final Wolfman episode of House of Horrors. If you don't know what House of Horrors is, I'm a filmmaker, John Johnson. This is my assistant, Alyssa Lauer, who is taking your questions and basically keeps me alive, except for we're going to counteract that today when I eat something that I'll talk about in a little bit. But yes, so what House of Horrors is a monster mashup movie where we are putting together like all the famous monsters, the Invisible Man, Dracula, Frankenstein's monster, the Mummy, so on and so forth. And we are now talking about the Wolfman. And what I'm doing is to make sure that each monster is fully represented in the film, that I spend some time studying each monster, well, a lot of time studying each monster to the fullest. Now, the way I do that is I set up 10 films. I watch all 10 films that have to do with that creature. And then I do 15 to 20 additional things, whether that's comic books, video games, novels, all that stuff. Now, I've done the 10 movies, and I've talked about that in the previous Wolfman discussions. But now I'm going over all 21 of my additionals today, because this is our final show, so we're going to be talking about that. And later in the show, one of our commenters, one of our heavy commenters, Kenneth Tabar, made the joke gravy nuggets. And I said, what is a gravy nugget? And I didn't know what he was talking about. He was talking about poop. And then before that, I had figured out that it was some kind of, or thought it was some kind of food, and what would that food be made of? And so there was a vote for the best gravy and the best nugget to make the gravy nuggets. And we won with tofu, which I think somebody had something to do with that, as the nugget, and beef gravy as the gravy. So I am literally going to eat hypocrisy of non-meat and meat together. So that'll be interesting. But that is upstairs, and then we're going to answer a few questions first, and then she's going to run up there while I'm going through the list and prepare the gravy nuggets. So if you're looking at this on Facebook at this moment in time, comment under this and or put a question in, and we will answer it live on the show. I think that cover everything.
I think that covers everything.
I think I covered everything. Oh, after we're done with the monsters, we are going to be dealing with versus films and then monster mashups themselves. I think we've got 4 more monsters before we're on to versus and monster mashups. Obviously, this is a long, long process. And that's why I'm doing this, to keep active with it and to keep you guys up to date with what I'm doing. So, yeah. All right. So, question me.
We have some comments left from the last show.
Yes.
So we have Clayton Levi Berry says,
hello.
Awesome show.
Thank you, sir.
Yay, he has good taste. And then Kenneth Tabor, he said he votes for chicken nuggets and gravy.
That's what I was thinking, was chicken nuggets and gravy. But somebody really wanted me to have the tofu. I don't know who that person was.
It's good for the soul.
But I've never had tofu before, or at least I don't think I have. So this will be the first time. She's taking my virginity tonight.
Tastes like chicken. And then Clayton Levi Berry also votes for chicken nuggets and gravy.
Well, you guys are a little late.
No,
there was a vote.
Gotta go over these. And then Stephen Harwin said gravy nuggets are consumed. It should be done either by the use of chopsticks or like you were dunking for apples.
No. We'll go with the fork. I don't think I'm prepared to be gravified, because I have to go shovel a lot of snow after this to clear our driveway. Because we tried getting out of the car. Well, we did get out, but it took some time. As I don't know if you're on the East Coast, then you've probably dealt with the blizzard that is coming. I heard there's another one coming, which is fantastic.
What?
Yeah, like next week.
Oh no.
Yeah. But tomorrow is the beginning of my staycay, where I take 4 days off and don't do anything. So I'm very excited about that. And actually on Facebook on Saturday night, we're going to be going over, we have a tournament every year. This is the first, but every year we are going to have teams because none of us really watch sports, but we're going to have sports colors. We're going to take pictures. We got a referee. We bought Tal and a ref shirt. We're going to gamble on 3 movies, and we're going to do it all. We're going to have not a live stream, but we're going to have videos going up on Facebook of where Talon will be talking about what we're doing and how we're doing in the games and so on and so forth. So that'll be something. Also, if you guys have been following Darkstone on a whole, Plan 9, the big flagship, finally gets released in the US on VOD. Pretty much there was like 19 cable companies that are going to have it. Vudu, Hulu, Amazon. It's going to be everywhere for rental, for VOD rental. And then after 90 days, it'll go in physical media where people can buy DVDs or Blu-rays, whatever they put it out on. And then after that, subscription base, which might be like a Hulu or a Netflix or something like that. So yeah, so the February 16th, which is a hop, skip, and a jump away. It's like just a couple weeks away, right after Valentine's Day. I think Walking Dead starts like 2 days before, and the 2 days before that, I think, is Deadpool. So you can see Deadpool and Walking Dead, and if you're still not done with movies, plan that. But yes, it's very exciting and it's a very good time. It's very good for this production. All right, so hit me up with some more comments or questions.
How timely. Stephen Haar says, congratulations on the news about Plan 9 with a big old smiley face.
Oh, yes. Very excited to hear what everybody thinks about it or hide in the closet for like a year. One of the two.
All right. Now we're going to get up to current.
Beep, beep, beep,
right,
beep.
Tonight, Kenneth Tabor says, so excited to see what's next. And some Nugget 9.
It's whoa.
It is.
It is coming. I am debating on the lineup of monsters after this, or which monster to do next. I'm steering away from Bride and Dracula, one, because I know how big of a thing Dracula is going to be. And in the next 2 productions of Lovecraft, the Lovecraft Chronicles Volume 2 and Seventh Guest, the series, are going to take up everything up until the summer. So I have to do something that's a little easier to do, but I have to keep it going during that time. Because it takes a long time to do these, and I got to keep on it. So I'm debating between The Invisible Man or The Mummy. Bride I'm going to do last because I started with Frankenstein, so I'll end with Frankenstein. And Dracula I'm thinking is going to be number 9. So you guys tell me tonight in the comments, do you vote Mummy or Invisible Man? I have to do them both, but which one should I do next? All right. So what do we got?
Okay. Kenneth Tabor, I have to say, I just watched The Howling today, and werewolves still fascinate me. I hope you haven't burned out. Have you?
A little bit, but I haven't been able to watch too many werewolf movies. I've been watching a lot of Wolfman movies, which are very different, and I don't think I ever realized how different they were. And there's some additionals on this where they're very much based in demonic, bloodlust killers, where werewolves are basically animals. They're just aggressive wolves. And the Wolfman is so different from that, which it's interesting because I never really, I knew it, but I didn't really know it until I did all of this. But I could go, because I dug so deep in the Wolfman movies. I was watching some pretty bad movies. Last night we watched the Wolfman 1979, and I almost got divorced because Mariah had enough Wolfman. So I know she got burned out a lot sooner than I did. But yeah, there's some bad. There's some bad. But we started in the good, but then it got bad. There's a lot more good werewolf movies, I think, than there are good Wolfman movies. Because the Wolfman makeup is so easy to do in comparison to a werewolf. I think that they can be done a lot easier, so the production value is a lot lower, and the writing. And a lot of the ones I watched that were really rough were probably Grindhouse era. So grindhouse movies just kind of have a formula anyway, where it's like just piddle paddle, boobs, piddle paddle, and then eventually you do everything in the last 10 minutes. So, but yeah, I guess that was a long-winded answer, but yes, a little burned out, ready to move on to the next guy. Very excited about that. And my wife has not left me yet.
Okay, Kenneth Tabor says, hello, you two sexy folks. How goes the day?
Well, she's definitely sexier than this man, but the day goes good. Like I got the staycay tomorrow, but I have a lot of writing to do tonight, and I have to. My glasses are. Forgive me. Got the staycay starting tomorrow for the next 4 days, so very excited about that and relaxing a little bit. But I have a lot of writing to do tonight. I have to finish the character descriptions of the 7th guest characters to go to pitch to Rob Landeros, the guy who owns the franchise, and he has to okay the characters to move on. And I was supposed to do it a little bit ago, but I'm getting it done hopefully tonight. I've finished almost all of it. Next question.
Kenneth Tabor, any of the additionals you absolutely hated or thought was horrible in its translation?
Oh yeah, I'll be getting into that here in just when she goes up. Once we get caught up on questions, she's gonna go make the nuggets, and I'm gonna go down the list one by one and talk about what's good, what's bad. There are some good ones in there, especially some documentaries. So there is some good stuff in there, but there's some bad too, because it was a lot. I think this was the most additionals I did for any monster. Hyde, I think, was a close second, but I think I did like 21 things for this one. So, all right, hit me.
Hate you. Kenneth Tabor, oh damn, this is your first tofu tasting? Oh man.
Oh yeah, man.
And it's gonna be so delicious. Kenneth, when I see you, you're having some tofu too.
Oh, rotten, Kenneth. Well, I don't know. It could be good. I don't know. I'm just like, I don't know what it is. What is? It's not racism. It's foodism. I'm having a foodism, so I don't know. It could be good. All right, what you got?
Kenneth Tabor, what did you think of the additional 2010 Wolfman opera scene?
Oh, I did actually get to watch that. Yeah, that won't be listed in the things. I actually thought it was very disappointing that they took that away, because it gave so much more to the animal and the man underneath than the movie did. The movie just kind of made him a raging monster, which was fine, but I thought this gave it another layer that wasn't there before. So I'm a little sad that they did not do that more, but I love the scene. I thought that was great. If I had seen that prior, I would have probably been a lot more into that movie, I think, than I was when I first saw it. I think I was a little turned off by it when I first saw it, and then it kind of grew on me. Trying to open up another window here so that
I thought it was pretty intense.
What did you think? You saw it too, right?
I did, and I thought it was pretty intense because you weren't quite sure what was going to happen. It was. I really liked the scene, and it is a shame that they took it out, and I wonder why.
Well, probably because it made him too sympathetic, where they wanted to keep it a much more nastier creature, and it also does it doesn't take away, but it does give away at the end when she comes up on the girl, and he's like kind of debating whether or not he's going to eat her or not, and then like his humanity kind of fights through, but then he just goes pure monster in those last seconds. I think that they were trying to keep that more dramatic, and if you saw that he could already be swayed earlier, that might, I don't know. That's my guess, is that the two scenes are connected in that decision. All right, let's do one more question or comment before Nuggets. And I'm actually going to steal some of this earlier.
Kenneth Tabor is voting for Invisible Man. So we have one for Invisible Man.
One for Invisible Man.
All right.
Ah, yes.
Want to do one more comment while you swallow?
One more comment.
Kenneth Tabor, piddle paddle, boobs. Love it. Gonna use it.
Yeah, that's my description of movies. I should be a movie reviewer. Actually, I tried that once, and I reviewed a movie that I won't mention. It's in there, and then I was at a convention with the filmmaker who I reviewed the movie for, And so I realized this is why filmmakers don't review movies. So you don't run into the guy who you reviewed the movie of in a not the best fashion. Yeah. So I used to have a show called DV Diner, and I loved it. It was Talon's show mostly, and it was fun to do because we would do drunk reviews as well. Like we had levels of review. I think they're all still up online.
Was that the one you did at the Waffle House?
We always filmed at Waffle House. Yeah. If you ever get bored, just look up DV Diner, like digital video space diner, just DV Diner, and you can look at some of the. We did a little bit. He got to pick the movies, so it was interesting. But yes, we came across a movie, and I ended up going to a convention with the filmmaker who I reviewed the movie of. I don't know if he knew, but there wasn't. I was the only video review of the movie out there. So there's a strong possibility that he had seen it. But yeah, that was embarrassing and terrible, and we won't do that again. All right, woman.
Ready?
Go bounce up those stairs and make some nuggets, and I will go through the list while she's doing that. We still will take more questions and stuff once she gets back, but I will start going through the list of everything in the research, my additionals. If you want to see the list on Facebook and on the House of Horrors page, it's the top article on the page. You just click that, and it'll give you the big list of everything. And we'll obviously just scroll to the bottom every time, and that's where we're reviewing. So number 1, Monster by Moonlight, the documentary. This was on the Universal disc pack that was with the Wolfman release, like those green boxes, which I have all of, and I have one for every monster that I'm doing, obviously, except for Bride, because they didn't give Bride her own, but we will. But yeah, it was okay. It was very much based on the production of the movie and the gruelingness of the makeup that I think was quite torturous. For them, because back then they would just glue each individual piece versus a mask, and I think it was quite tough on Lon Chaney Jr. I can't remember the actor's name who did the Werewolves of London, but his was much more simpler than Lon Chaney's. So yeah, you talk about the process of that and Jack Pierce's makeup, and I believe it was foam latex that Jack Pierce wouldn't do. He only wanted to build on the face the way Lon Chaney Sr. would, and not do foam latex. I believe that was a pretty big deal to him. But yeah, it's an okay documentary. It's on there. It's pretty short, but it's more about the productions of the Universal films. Let's see here. What have I done? Okay. The Wolfman 2010 Namco video game. This was a phone app game that was basically a retelling of the 2010 remake of the Wolfman. It was okay. It's very simple. It's like you could do things as the human, and then you'll turn into the wolf, and you do more stuff as the wolf. There's actually another video game down the line that's a little older that was pretty damn cool, made for the Commodore. I'll talk about that in a little bit, just because of the concept of it was a little ridiculous. Well, not ridiculous, but just more like just darker, which was nice. Oh, I forgot how long it takes to talk. I actually just did some students at a place called Lighthouse. I just did a talk, and I realized like how long it takes to do lectures. And it was nice. It was cool to do it when they were, asking me questions, and I was answering them more about career stuff. But yeah, I forgot. It takes a long time with the voice and the talking. Okay, so the Namco game, it's mainly for the phone, but it's okay. It's not great. It's very simple. It's very much reminds me of like an NES game of the like Nintendo, or first generation Nintendo, of like a side scroller. But not a lot of story to it, but it is basically a retelling of the 2010 movie. Next on the list, Curse of the Wolfman novella. This was, for some reason, more than any other monster, the old radio shows used to be obsessed with the Wolfman. Like they were all Wolfman stories, or werewolf stories, I guess. Not so much Wolfman, but more werewolf. Even to the like Haunted Honeymoon with Gene Wilder and Gilda Radner and Dom DeLuise. That movie even had Wolfman in it just because of radio shows just loved Wolfman stories. And so Curse of the Wolfman, the novella, was an old story like that was retold as with sound effects and music and stuff like that. And it was cool. It was a good listen. Kind of, twist ending the way most of those things work. But if you come across it, I believe it's available on Audible, which was pretty much an audiobook place. But it's called Curse of the Wolfman. It's pretty cool. I think it's like an hour, but it's worth doing. I don't want to ruin the story, but it's a cool story. Monster Quests. What have I done? I have made mistakes. Give me a second. It's a documentary. Monster Quest, America's Wolfman. This one had some interesting facts to it. Where like it was kind of about like people who really think they're werewolves. And there's a place in Michigan. I'm trying to remember the name of it. But it's an area about 100 miles from Detroit that has, I think, in the last 100 years, it's had 100 reports to the police about a sighting or an attack by what they think is a werewolf. There is wolves in that area, but they're in a big worry that there are werewolves there and people are being attacked 100 miles outside of Detroit. It's worth checking out. The other thing that came out is the word lichen, which I lycanthropy and all that stuff. I didn't know where it came from, but in the documentary they explained that it's a Greek myth. That there's a story about I can't remember what his first name was, but his last name was Lycan, and he had a town of like he was killing babies, he was doing all these terrible things, and Zeus came down and turned him into a wolf. And he still ran around eating babies and stuff like that, but he was forced to become a wolf. And that's because his last name was Lycan, that's why we today call them Lycans as werewolves. It's based off this Greek mythology story. So that was another cool bit. I'm seeing gravy nuggets.
Gravy and nuggets.
Oh my God. Oh, and you're lighting a candle.
Lighting a candle.
Well, we gotta go.
Prayer.
What Invisible Man food am I gonna eat for the big finale? Unless Mummy gets it, but right now it looks like Invisible Man. But yeah, it's a cool documentary. It gives a little tidbits and stuff, but it was more about, wow, you guys are in for a treat, and maybe so will I be. Oh yeah, this presentation going on. Thank you, Kenneth, for all of this. Covered in ants. What is the next one? Oh yes.
All right.
All right.
Here it comes.
I don't know. Let's see if we can.
What?
Grab that. There we go. Now I can do this. So there is. For gravy nuggets.
I think we need some music or something.
Well, the copyright. Take me out to the ball game. I know that's public. All right.
I even have my apron on, my cooking apron.
This is gravy nuggets with the.
And there's extra sauce if you need.
Extra sauce with the tofu. Oh, it's so weird looking.
Might be super hot. I see steam coming off it. Be careful.
It I definitely taste the beef gravy a lot. It's kind of spongy.
Mm-hmm.
What is tofu made of?
Soybeans.
Oh. It kind of feels like I'm eating like packaging dipped in gravy. But it's not bad. Mainly because of the beef gravy.
Well, if you would have got the brown sauce, like I suggested.
I did this. She disagrees with you guys, just so you know. She thinks you shouldn't have voted for beef gravy.
But if you got brown sauce, which is vegetarian, but it's still, I think, would count as beef gravy because it is brown and it's supposed to be beef-like.
I don't think that's beef
That
gravy.
would be my guess.
I think there's got to be beef in it.
No, it's a vegetarian item.
Oh my god. Okay, that's good. It's not bad.
More Gatorade, sir.
More thank you.
It's fine here.
I'm gonna dip a little bit more in there. I'll get one more and I'll get back to business.
All right.
I could live off this.
Yeah, tofu really, tofu has a soy taste, but it's really what you do.
Whatever you do to it is what.
And there's so many different ways to prepare it to get different textures.
Yeah.
Like if you freeze it, it really gets really spongy. And
that was my first tofu. All right, I'm gonna. Am I trapped?
Oh, I think I tried it above.
When people know what the hell, and they come back, they're like, "Why is he wearing that?" Okay. So beef nugget gravy nuggets, which kind of, I mean, you can see this. They kind of look like they would be. Well, it's an interesting poop. That's probably a very healthy poop.
Triangular poop.
Triangle poop. Well, that was very nice. Thank you for preparing that. That's wow. Things are just different.
And there's a whole big plate of them.
Oh yeah, yep, we got more.
Yeah.
Might eat more after the show. All right. The next movie that I'll go to before we get back into questions, because I'm only on number 5 of like 21. Werewolves on Wheels. This was a grindhouse film, 70s. It's actually, we'll come back later because I think there was another movie that was influenced by it. But not great, really. It was okay, but it is one of those grindhouse things where they just kind of piddle paddle boobs until the last 10 minutes when then everything kind of happens, which is kind of how grindhouse works so far as their formula is concerned. It's kind of like 2 acts, and the second act is about like this big, and the rest of the movie is the first act. But it was okay. It was kind of I thought there would be more werewolves on wheels, but really it's only like the ending. So like I thought it was gonna be like a pack of wolves that all had bikes, kind of like Lost Boys, but it was like a bunch of dudes driving around, causing mayhem, and they run into some Satan worshipers. The girl ends up getting kidnapped, put into like a weird orgy, turns into a werewolf, starts taking out some of the bikers because they don't really have places to live. They just kind of park their bikes, start a fire, and like live there. And so they don't have a lot of protection from the werewolf. And then things get out of hand, and people have problems with it because they're dying. Not the greatest movie, but it's. I mean, if you're drunk, why not? I think the whole thing. Well, there's okay now. We found it on YouTube, but it's the edited version, so we had to go track down the one with the boobs, because otherwise it's just pitter-patter, and nobody wants that.
No payoff.
And curse words being taken out, and gore, and so yeah. But the whole thing is on YouTube in that fashion. If you want to take it in.
There's an awesome song with the same name in the Surf Kingdom.
Oh yeah.
And it's by the Ghastly Ones, and it is so good.
Oh okay. Well, I haven't heard that yet.
I could pull that up for you.
Well, no, because last time our video got taken down, we did that, so we got to be careful about. We can only do da 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 da. That apparently is okay. I'll do one more, and then we'll get into some common questions. Let's see. Werewolf on Wheels. Then the Van Helsing mini doc. This was on the same box set as the Wolfman Universal release. It was really just a documentary about how they created the Wolfman and Van Helsing, which was I wasn't too disappointed in for a CG wolf because I think the ones that hurt the worst were American Werewolf in Paris for CG wolves. I don't know. I'll ask you guys. What do you guys think the worst CG wolf was? Not transformation, because sometimes they do the CG transformation, and then the wolf would be prosthetic. But I think in American Werewolf in Paris, they were completely CG. But yeah, the documentary, it was okay. They did go with the idea. I liked how they tore the flesh off. That was kind of cool. But yeah, it was very short. It was a very quick mini doc, but it was all right. All right, next question.
All right. It will be from Kenneth Tabor, and let me find it. It just started moving around a little bit. He would like to know.
Yes.
Suspense is killing me. He would like to know, do you write down ideas or notes as you go?
I do. I have Mariah bought me a journal that I watch. That when I watch, I have with me, and I actually make notes. Like if there's like a quote from a movie or historical fact or something to that effect, I write each one. And I've had it since day one, and I'm still filling it in. And so I've had it for almost 2 years now. And but yeah, no, I have a little journal that I keep with it I'll have with me when I sit down to write the screenplay, which I'm very excited to do. All right, next thing. Mini doc, top 3 Bing and YouTube search. I think when you a lot of the stuff was just, there wasn't a lot of fan stuff that was disappointing. With Creature in the Black Lagoon, there was a lot more fanfic, which I liked. This one was like a lot more music videos of just punk bands with werewolf in the title, or Wolfman in the title. I didn't really pick up on anything other than that. It wasn't. I think there was some guy's mini documentary on Wolfman or the Wolfman, but it was poorly done. And but yeah, so basically, I just went and typed in the Wolfman on Bing and on Google, and then just clicked on the video tab and watched the top 3 that weren't directly related, like a trailer for the movie or something like that. But yeah, nothing really like surprising came out of it. It was all kind of the same stuff that you would guess. So man, that was not too big of a search. You give me something.
Kenneth Tabor. Michigan Dogman has been popular of late, mostly in northern Michigan.
I'm not too familiar. Maybe are you talking about the area that the swamp area that all the wolf attacks have been coming from, or is Dogman like an actual like Sasquatch kind of a thing? Let me know in the comments below.
Yes, indeed.
All right. So then, where? This is WER, newer release, Wolfman release. It was a great film for what it was. This was one of the better ones. It was a very different kind of adaptation of the Wolfman tale, and it definitely was Wolfman versus werewolf. I liked it. I would recommend it. It's just spelled WER, and I think it's on Vudu now. It was in Redbox. I can't remember where I found it, but I know it's available to rent online. But yeah, it was good. It was I think it all took place in like London or something to that effect. They got the effects were good, and the storyline was decent, and it gets a little muddled at the end, but I think they just kind of ran out of steam. But other than that, I think the movie was pretty decent. All right, comment question.
Kenneth Tabor has a comment about the nuggets. He
Mm.
said that is the proper response to tofu. Bewilderment. Bewilderment because you wonder how something so delicious has been missing from your life.
I don't think it was bad. I I don't know about delicious, but I definitely won't say it was bad. It wasn't bad. I'll eat another one right now.
Yay!
All right, give me another question or comment while
Comment from Kenneth. Dude, you rock. Laugh out loud. You can't buy these moments. Laugh out loud.
It's such a weird thing.
Oh, he has a comment about the Dogman. Do you want to
Yeah.
go with that? Dogman is the Michigan Wolfman, Wexford, Michigan. It is the one that all the people have been citing.
Oh, okay. No, I haven't come across that.
Let's check that out.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you. Yeah, Michigan's got some werewolf problems. I think in America, it was either that or the Bayou. They are the two areas that have the loup-garou problem or the Wolfman problem of the North. All right. Next thing on my list, James Rolfe's videos. Yeah, this was Cinemassacre. James Rolfe is another filmmaker buddy of mine that's been in a bunch of our stuff. He was in Plan 9. He was in Spade. He's going to be in Seventh Guest. But he's a huge movie buff, especially the classic movies. So I just go to his site, type in whatever monster I'm thinking of, and then all the videos will come up that he's reviewed on the creature and video games, and I just sit and take it all in. So it was a lot of the same stuff. It was a lot of the stuff I was already picking up from all the other documentaries, other than some of the filmmaker notes. But I definitely recommend doing it because he is very insightful and in-depth in his research. And you might not have to do as much when you can just kind of rely on what he's put together. Question, comments, me.
Kenneth Tabor.
Kenneth, hello, my friend.
Werewolf on Wheels is quoted at the beginning of Rob Zombie's Dracula, which is such a good song.
Yep. Yeah, I could see. I mean, he loved drive-in grindhouse movies, so I could see where that would happen. And it is kind of like tough man movie kind of a thing. It's just you got to know what you're getting into when you watch it. But it's cool for what it is. It's kind of like White Zombie is another one that he like quoted on. Not the greatest movie, but it's cool for what it is. So yeah, you just kind of have to look at it that way. All right, and so Terror Tracks, we're getting close. Terror Tracks, the interactive CD game. These are hilarious. They're essentially choose-your-own-adventure novels that they've put on CD with sound effects and music, and they try to make it like a little story. And whatever track you turn to, whether you live or you die or you kind of get through the adventure. And there was this group called Tracks. They're kind of CIA operative guys that got hung up in the bayou with a bunch of Wolfman problems. I think they called them werewolves, but they were the wolves talked, which is a little bit more Wolfman than werewolf. But yeah, if you could get your hands on a copy of it, it's pretty funny. It's kind of cheesily done, which kind of goes a long way in my book because I live on cheese.
You literally.
Yeah, I do.
And ranch dressing.
Yes.
Kenneth Tabor, we all know how we're gonna day, baby. Oh, I think we're missing a word.
Die.
I think so.
Yeah.
We are gonna crash and burn.
Oh, yeah, I could.
Yeah. And then
Werewolves on Wheels.
Yes. And then he has a comment, American Werewolf in Paris sucked. But the worst CGI Wolfman was Monster Wolf.
Monster Wolf. I'm not sure I've seen that one. That was not. I'm not going to. Especially if it's like, I think I'm done with the Wolfman movies for a while. And especially if it's like the worst CG. Although that being said makes me want to, damn you. Yeah, American Werewolf in Paris. I want to say I should go back and watch it again because it probably isn't as bad as I remember it. But it came out on Christmas Day, and I went to go see it on Christmas Day. And I remember being like, okay, but I was mostly disappointed. But it's probably one that might be better in a second watch decades later. All right. After that, we did the original Wolfman, the true story of La Bête du Gévaudan. this was a big historical thing that a lot of the documentaries covered. The town, or not town, the province of Gévaudan in France, about 250 years ago, was just murder of, I think it was over 300 people, of some creature called the Beast of Gévaudan that roamed the area, killing women and children mostly. Children, it would just behead. It would bite their heads off. And then women, it would disembowel and eat their insides. This was a really big problem. Like the King Louis got involved, I think the 15th, to try to get it killed. And they thought they brought it down, but then like other areas started popping up with it. They thought they brought it down again, and some other areas started coming up. But I think the toll was over 300. And there, it wasn't really a wolf, and the drawings of it looked more like a hyena. But its body and shape were more bigger than a hyena, and it can do things like leap over 10 feet fences that hyenas can't do. So there was a lot of talk of it being a werewolf because they couldn't track it and they couldn't find it, and it was kind of killing like a human versus killing like a just an animal. But it's the, you know, how there's Dracula is the most famous vampire story. Believed that he was a vampire because he ate blood and put people on pikes. The Beast of Gévaudan is the most famous Wolfman, and it's all French. Yes, I've watched many documentaries with many people with French accents on that. So this was like a mini thing just based on that, which was kind of cool. I'll do one more here.
I'm watching the Monster Wolf trailer.
Okay.
2010.
It's new.
Quite terrible.
Well, good.
Yeah.
Thriller music video directed by John Landis. It's been actually a long time since I had watched that. The Wolfman, though, was a little bit more cat-like. He kind of looked like a big feline, but he obviously was a wolf. And he had the same wolf roar that Werewolf in London did, which was also Landis. So that was kind of cool. The biggest thing that surprised me the most was the zombies, because it was kind of a gothic. God, I am tofu nuggets.
I'm allergic to soy.
I'm allergic to soy and healthy foods. Yeah, it was a kind of a gothic thing, which I don't think a lot of zombie movies have, where everything's kind of darkly shadowed, trees, fog, stuff like that. And most zombie movies you get now, they try to make them so real that you don't really get that kind of atmosphere. Because people, I think, you know, in the new pop culture of zombie, don't expect to have a story told as much as like see if they survive or not. That's more about what the goal is. But yeah, it was kind of cool. It was it's worth watching again just for everything that they did with it, and having, of course, Vincent Price, and that was all cool. But yeah, the Wolfman scene, obviously, I Was a Teenage Werewolf was what they were basing it on, or parodying, I guess. But yeah, it was cool. It's just been a long time. Give me some while I eat
Tabor says the French Beast was made into a movie called Brotherhood of the Wolf.
Oh, I've seen that.
Very, very good. Watch it instead.
I
have to say that trailer looked pretty bad.
I actually own Brotherhood of the Wolf. They had another theory about, instead of a werewolf, well, I guess I shouldn't say because it ruins the movie. But they had a theory about what the creature was as well. Oh, so chewy.
Well, there is a knife there. So you can take smaller bites.
Oh yeah, no time for all that.
Ain't nobody got time for
Ain't
that.
nobody got time to cut up the tofu. You gotta just inhale the tofu. Okay. Big Bad Wolf. Really low budget kind of horror movie, but actually surprisingly good, I would say. I think it's available on like Xbox, the 360 app, for free. It's interesting because the Wolfman was kind of like a Hyde. He speaks and he does malicious things, but he also has this crazy bloodlust as well. And it starts off with the story of a bunch of kids going out to a cabin, and the big bad wolf shows up and rapes and kills a bunch of them. There is rape. There's wolf rape. But that's only 20 minutes of the movie. Then it's all about the survivors of the attack and them trying to find who the Wolfman or who the big bad wolf was. So where you would think it's just a standard slasher horror film, it takes a big twist 20 minutes in and it kind of goes through a whole thing again. And then they return to the cabin with another group of kids. So it's like a sequel to the first movie all in one movie. It's interesting. And I would definitely recommend it. If you like kind of, gory slasher films, because it is that vein. But it is a unique take on the Wolfman. I thought it was kind of cool. Question me.
Kenneth Table.
Kenneth, I'm going to have another nugget.
Big Bad Wolf was a surprise. What was your favorite scene?
Mm-hmm.
When he eats tofu nuggets?
Mm-hmm.
If that wasn't in there, it should have been.
I think anytime they're dealing with the Wolfman in the cabin is cool. But I think for me, when my favorite moment is where the movie kept going, where they got out of the cabin, they survived, they drove off, and then it didn't go to credits, and it wasn't like a short film. There was like, oh, now there's another act. I was not expecting that, and that was a big surprise. Also, I really like the actor who they chose to be the wolf. I'm trying to remember his name. He'd done a few things as well. I think he was. Oh yeah. 3 O'Clock High. And Kindergarten Cop. He was the bad guy in both of those movies.
Is he Richard Tyson? Because Kenneth's next question talks about Richard Tyson.
That's probably him. Yeah, he was the 3 O'Clock High. He was the bully that was trying to fight the guy from Young Guns, and then in Kindergarten Cop, he was the bad guy against Arnold Schwarzenegger. But yeah, because there was a lot of emotion to it. But he was also a great Wolfman as well, because he apparently did in the makeup and out of the makeup. So it was cool. I liked it. I definitely would recommend it if you're looking for something kind of unique, but in the same vein. It doesn't go too weird. It stays pretty straightforward, but yeah. What you got?
Richard Tyson was in Kindergarten Cop.
Yeah, that's him. He's the Wolfman.
See, Kenneth, he just knows just what you're going to talk about. He
Well,
says Richard Tyson played the part so well. What did you think of his acting?
yeah,
At
exactly.
the same time, yeah, and then you just went right into it.
Yeah. It was definitely cool. All right, next one, Wolfmentary. This is probably the best documentary I found. It was homegrown, so it's one guy just putting a story together. It's on YouTube in 7 parts, and the 5th part is 2 parts. So really 8 parts, where he talks about the history of werewolves, werewolf movies, werewolves in pop culture. Could there be a werewolf? It's a really cool documentary that's free. It's in a bunch of different parts. He goes into the Beast de Gévaudan. He goes into every kind of way. He even talks about the TV show Werewolf from 1988. So he's really done his homework. He goes into a science section. Each part is a different approach to the documentary. But I would definitely recommend it. It was cool. I mean, it's very low budget done, I guess. Low budgetly done. Is that a word? It is now. I coined it.
Perfect.
I'll
notate that.
But yeah, it's just called Wolfmentary, like elementary. But no, it's not Wolfmentary. It's Werewolfmentary. Werewolfmentary. But yeah, it's a cool documentary. It's about an hour, I think, if you watch all the parts. But when he gets into the movies, it's cool about how he really defines what the wolves are, how they're told in the story. I mean, he does get into more werewolves than Wolfman, but he does cover Wolfman as well. But yeah, I'd recommend it. Give me some.
All right. This is interesting. Kenneth says, did you get that his last name was Toblat, anagram of Talbot?
I did actually. Yeah, when it was the Toblat. But he, of course, was he was a nasty guy, even without being the wolf. But then he kind of made an excuse for it, that the wolf is always with him, and it kind of makes him worse and worse as more evil. Where they're definitely going that the wolf is evil. But yeah, I did catch the Toblat Talbot thing, or not, I guess. All right, and so now, if you'll click on this, I will see, or maybe I won't. Why are you non-clickable? Ah, there we are. Skinwalkers. This I actually also really, really like. This was done by the Stan Winston Company and written by James Roday, or one of the writers was James Roday, who's the lead actor in Psych, the USA show. And this has Elias Koteas and the kid from Roswell all grown up. And I can't remember her name, but she was in Beowulf, Underworld 3, Boston Legal, Doomsday. I know all the movies. I don't know her name. Super, super hot woman that Mariah doesn't think is very hot because she says she looks a little bit too much like a man in the face. I think she's gorgeous. Weird how that works. But she's dealt with werewolves and a bunch of stuff as well in a bunch of her movies. Well, yeah, because like Doomsday was done by the guy who did Dog Soldiers, which was awesome. She was on a TV show called The Gates that had werewolves in it. Beowulf was kind of like a wolf creature in that version with Christopher Lambert. Underworld, and then Skinwalkers. So werewolves have followed her around her whole career. Yeah, it was cool. It was a good, like, kind of adventure action oriented story. And they were wolfmen, definitely bloodlust, crazy creatures, not animalistic, more nasty and mean. No matter the good ones and the bad ones were all basically bad once they turned. But once you apparently ate human flesh, you as a person became evil as well, which I thought was an interesting twist. But I'd recommend that one, definitely. That's a fun movie. All right, give me something while I have another nougat. A spongy nougat.
Nothing.
Oh, woo!
Oh wait, got something. Kenneth Tabor saves the day. Skinwalkers was a surprise as well. Another group of Talbots. I agree.
Mm-hmm.
She looks like a man.
Wow. Did he agree to that? Did she look like a man?
Yeah.
Yeah, Mariah says that.
All right, I gotta see who it is.
Maybe she was a man that got like a really good body change. That's possible.
I didn't see it.
But if you look up Underworld 3, Rise of the Lycans, she's the lead girl.
Oh, her.
Yeah, I think she's beautiful.
Oh, I think she's super hot.
Right, but Mariah says that her face looks too much like a man. I think just she's got a really thick brow. I don't know.
All right, so what am I looking up? I looked up Skinwalkers, but I don't see her here.
Oh, that's what I said. Looked up Rise of the Lycans because there'll probably be a picture of her that'll come up a little easier on that. All right, next thing. Okay, so this was this video game, The Werewolves of London, for the Commodore 64. This was a really interesting game. It's basically side-scroller 8-bit, but you're kind of going through areas in like the way Dumble Dragon is, where it's not just one flat screen. You can kind of move up and down the screen itself. But the concept of the game is that you get cursed to become a wolfman, and you have to go kill the 6 people or 8 people who turned you into a werewolf. That's the game. You're murdering people. And like this was like, I think it was the late 80s when they made this for the Commodore. It's not early Commodore. But definitely so far as that of those games, my favorite of the video game Wolfman games. I think there's probably like werewolf games that might be more fun. But so far as Wolfman, this is what I discovered, and it's definitely a fun game. I didn't beat it, but I went and watched online somebody else beat it so I could like see what the end of the story was. Very text driven, as those games were back then. Well, actually, at the time, well, yeah, they were all very text driven, but it was cool, and it was an interesting concept to be that dark. Um, Although when you turn into the Wolfman, you look a little silly. It just looks like you're wearing like a tube. You look kind of like a red Teletubby. Your face doesn't change, so that's interesting. And you kind of eat. Oh, and to gain health, you just eat people. But it also kind of had the Grand Theft Auto thing that if you do enough crime, more cops eventually show up, and so you're trying not to bring that much attention as you're killing everybody. But yeah.
The actress is Rona Mitra.
Rona Mitra. All right, give me something while I nugget it up.
Let's see what Kenneth has to say. Oh, he says Rona Mitra. All that searching, and I just had to look here. Skinwalker. Oh yeah, Skinwalkers was a surprise as well. Another group of Talbots. I agree. Oh wait, I already said that one. I just didn't hit the like. Sorry. What did you think of the Skinwalker makeup?
Oh, well, 90%. Like, I definitely love the teeth, and I actually might be leaning on Mariah to come up with teeth very similar to that. But the oversized CG eyes might have been a little weird. But I definitely like the teeth and the body build that they did, which reminded me a lot of Monster Squad, of how it was like a muscle bound Wolfman, which was kind of cool. But I definitely enjoyed what they did with the makeup that Stan Winston did. Next, Animal X, Natural Mystery Unit, Monster or Murderer. This is another documentary on the Beast of Gévaudan. Just a little bit. Yeah, because I learned how I've been saying it. How was I saying it? Gévaudan or I've been saying it for decades and not knowing how to say it until recently. Gévaudan is my only French word I know, and bibliothèque. So there's somewhere in Gévaudan there is a bibliothèque.
Always gonna have a library.
Yes. I was in Paris last year briefly. They weren't nice. Okay, so the documentary, it's funny because like the guy who's hosting it is really funny, but they don't really learn much. You'll probably get all the same information from Wolfmentary with a lot more interesting on the folklore, where this was just like, it's not a wolf, it's not a hyena, what was it? They think it's a serial killer. But it's once again, it's just speculation, so no one really knows. But it was, it was definitely entertaining, but it was produced. Like, one was kind of underproduced, which I liked more, and then this one was kind of overly produced because they're acting. The host is really acting up all of it. But yeah, I think it's all on YouTube for free if you want to check that out. Give me something.
All right. Kenneth says, do the games give you any ideas, or is it more for fun because it sounds like it's a good break?
Depends. Like, sometimes the games take really big leaps in story because they can. And so definitely I look at like Dracula. I know when I've done a Dracula study before when I made the film a la carte a little over a decade ago, which is weird to think. But I watched like 20, 25 movies, books, games, comic books. I've done all this before with Dracula, so Dracula is just going to be like like everything new is what I'm going to be looking at, because I'm definitely well versed in that novel. But the games will take like big leaps. They'll do this one with the series didn't so much, but it definitely do get ideas from them sporadically, and then sometimes it's more about imagery and the feel of the monster. I know some of I did a Hyde and a Creature from the Black Lagoon gambling game, and it was all about what they thought was the most interesting points of the monster and how they presented it. And so that because not only do I need to see the monster for what it was originally intended, what it is to pop culture, but how other people see it. And I think games are the best way to see how other people see the monster versus just how you see it. And so that's one of the big reasons why I do that. All right. Next thing, Wolfman, 1979. Oh my God. This was a terrible movie. This was like on the par level of like some of those swamp monster movies. You can obviously tell that whoever made it was a really big fan of Dark Shadows, because they were really kind of trying to make a Dark Shadows in the South, but there were castles, but everybody had like a really deep Southern accent. And the Wolfman looked a little silly, and it was demonic Satanism stuff again. But also there was the only thing that movie did for me was confirm something that I hadn't come across in too many movies. But some of the documentaries, they would say that one of the ways they would find out that if a human was a werewolf, that their index finger would be longer than their middle finger. And that was one of the telltale signs. And this movie kind of confirmed that it is a part of the lore. So I think I'll be making a nod to that. So Wolfman 1979 does give me that. This movie, I believe, is completely on YouTube for free. It's like horror hosted by some Elvira ripoff, Spanish Elvira ripoff, which was kind of fun to see. Oh no, wasn't that one? There's another movie that was on the list. But yeah, it's all on YouTube. Terrible, but kind of fun for giving me that kind of insight, I guess. Give me something. Are we caught up?
I got nothing.
And we are almost to the bottom of the list. So, The Boy Who Cried Werewolf, 1973. Do not be confused with the Nickelodeon The Boy Who Cried Werewolf, 2010. So the 1973 film was okay. It was definitely like a made-for-TV movie, but the Wolfman definitely murdered a lot of people, like just killed so many people. And he kind of looked cat-like too. So I'm curious if the makeup from him was based on the look of the Thriller video. So I wonder if there's, or the Thriller video was kind of based on that, maybe. There's an interesting concept. It was once again devil-oriented Wolfman, which is very different from werewolf. The other thing I forgot to mention is, and this is the one that's on YouTube that's horror hosted by the Spanish Elvira, which is not great, but it was kind of fun to see that. Let's see. Oh, what I was saying that I thought was influenced by Werewolf on Wheels was Skinwalkers, because it was a motorcycle gang that were all werewolves, and I wondered if that was an idea that came from werewolves or inspired by. But yeah, okay, last thing, Neon Joe the Werewolf Hunter. This is a comedy series that kind of deals with the Wolfman. It was a fun little series on Adult Swim. I think Kenneth, you recommended it, so I watched it. Yeah, it was it was funny. It definitely had its moments of funny. It was definitely strange as well. Not so much. You don't really learn much from the Wolfman, but kind of a fun show if you just wanted to watch something for fun versus educational, I guess. There's like aliens and shrinking people, and Wolfman just mixed into it, or a werewolf. But he kind of was a Wolfman. So yeah, that's my list. That is all 21 items. Do we have any final questions?
No, Kenneth wouldn't let us down. Wolfman 1979 had a priest, so I think it was influenced by The Exorcist too.
Mm-hmm.
Says Kenneth.
I see that. I mean, yeah, it was like an evil priest that was into Satan worship at the same time. Also, kind of one of the Hammer films, with one of the Dracula films, did that as well. So, but yeah, I would definitely say that. All right, so we are done, and I'm going to eat the final nougat.
There's still more upstairs.
No, they're not. This is the last one. This is she gave me the plate of nougats, and I am completing it. Oh.
Well done, Johnny. Well done.
Oh man, it's kind of like eating hypocrisy.
I don't think there's actually any beef in that gravy you brought.
Oh really? It just might be beef flavored?
I don't know. I don't know what's in that.
No, that didn't look like there's no chunks or anything.
Yeah, I don't know what that's made from. And then we do have another can popped up. He says, Neon Joe, I did indeed. Werewolf Howl powered spaceships, man.
Yeah.
What's not to love?
No, it's true. I did have a really good time watching it. All right. Well, I guess there's only been one vote, which was Kenneth, because it looks like he's our only viewer right now. People I know watch this retroactively. So it looks like I'm going to be doing The Invisible Man next, and sometime in the new week, I will put a post on Darkstone helping me pick the movies, which I don't think I know some of the ones I'm definitely going to do. Obviously, the 4 Universal Invisible Man movies, the 2 Hollow Man movies, the Benjamin Knight movies, Mandroid and Chronicles of Benjamin Knight, and then there's that Dabney Coleman spy movie with like the kid from E.T. where he was invisible. So I know I'll be doing those, but I don't know. Oh, and the Chevy Chase one. But I don't know. I don't know how many other Invisible Man movies there are.
I guess you have to set up a criteria. Does it necessarily have to be a man? Can it be an invisible monster?
No, I know. You got the one.
Favorite.
That'll go in my additionals.
Okay.
I don't think it'll be one of my 10, but that'll definitely be in the additionals. She's got one. We'll tell everybody.
Fiend Without a Face.
Yeah, she's a big fan of that one.
So good.
But yeah, all right, guys. Thanks so much for watching, and we will be back into this in the next couple weeks. But I'll start watching movies next week. So, Invisible Man, here we come. Da 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 da